as you said, the essence of brand is to get the right message.
Correct.
So it is very important to also classify what would be the right message for the right user. So how we are using technology is to classify which is the right user for that specific brand, which the message they want to communicate.
Okay.
So we are having very specific set of data segments where we are having the user profiles into our data sets. We are collaborating with companies providing such data sets and making sure that the right user it's not just gonna be available at the same point of time when you are showing the ad. So you have to make sure that the user profile that you are feeding into the system and the technology which comes into the backend is like making sure it targets the right user all the time.
Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. If you are new to our channel, please consider subscribing to it and hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very accomplished media guru from Dubai, Bhavesh Talreja. Bhavesh, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ashutosh, for the introduction.
Thank you. Bhavesh is the founder of Global Media, a mobile ad tech startup. So, Bhavesh, let's talk about Global Media. Tell me about this venture. What do you do here?
So, the whole idea of Global Media is to help brands and advertisers get the right user at the right time. And not just the users, but also make sure that the users are able to, explore more and more inside the app, inside the products of the brands that one is offering. So it's more of like the user acquisition plus retaining of the users that we are providing to our clients here.
Okay. And you say that you're using artificial intelligence to support your clients expand their business.
Yeah.
Give me an example of what you do.
So when we're talking about, let's say, getting the right users, so it's not like, at this point of time, there are a lot of brands and there are a lot of apps in the market. So it is very important for apps to be relevant for the end user because there are so many apps which are competing in the space of e-commerce, which are competing in the space of social media, which are competing in the space of mobility apps and food, grocery. So everything is going towards the mobile first model. So what is happening right now, there's a very crazy competition among the apps to retain the users, as well as not just having the app is not enough, So first you have to get the right user by making sure you reach the target user by precise targeting, making sure that the algorithms that we are using in the backend, they're totally taking the user profiles into consideration while showing the ads to them. Because if in case the ad is not relevant, they will just simply skip the ad or just ignore the ad, and the advertiser is still spending money.
Right.
And on top of that, we are also collaborating at this point of time with P2P platforms, which are providing app sharing, file sharing. So anybody who likes an app, they can simply connect with their friends and sell them. You can also download this app. So it's more of like a lookalike targeting which comes into picture as well. And on top of that, there are algorithms running in the backend using the machine learning that we have, which are usually considering, the optimizations depending on the user funnel. Like if in case the user has seen the ad but not downloaded it, they may try to retarget it.
Right.
And if in case they retarget it, then they try to make sure that the user is not just targeted on mobile, but also desktop, not just on one app, but also across various channels out there.
Very interesting.
There's so many algorithms in the backend, which are working round the clock in order to make sure the user is acquired in the right way.
So Bhavesh, for our viewers and listeners, can you help me understand what you've just said with an example? If it's not confidential, of course.
Yeah. So for example, if in case, let's say you view a product on Amazon, you're looking for a hairdryer.
Correct.
Okay. So you will search on Amazon for a hairdryer, and let's say you look for the hairdryer, you liked a certain brand, you just viewed it, you add to the cart, but you don't buy it. So at this point of time, what Amazon will do, it's gonna retarget you across other social platforms as well. So if in case from Amazon, you're moving towards Instagram and checking your friends' profiles and what their status update or their
Right.
latest photos. So you will see a feed from Amazon showing you options of your past searches, like which will include the hair dryer or different brands of hair dryer. So
Correct.
what they are doing right now is like basically having the retargeting model into picture and still targeting the user even if in case they have left Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So they are providing the user the chance to buy the same hair dryer not from Amazon but from Instagram, which will again lead to the Amazon.
Okay.
And at the same point of time, this is more regarding retargeting. But if in case, let's say there are brands like so many startups which are coming new in the market as of now, so there are brands like, for example, ShareChat, Moj, which is like they're having good funding rounds and they are looking forward to basically acquire users.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, we are basically collaborating with our channels and making sure, like you get the right kind of user by showing them ads. So right now, the whole economy is freemium.
Mm-hmm.
So the way the companies are making money are by showing ads rather than actually charging the end user.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we come into picture. We collaborate with the publishers and target the right user and target the right ad.
Very interesting. So, advertising is something, I mean, I'm much older than you are, and I've been seeing advertising for the last 42 years from the corporate world. The basic essence of advertising is always to get the message of your brand across to your consumer.
Yeah.
How are you using technology to communicate this better?
So, as you said, the essence of brand is to get the right message.
Correct.
So, it is very important to also classify what would be the right message for the right user. So, how we are using technology is to classify which is the right user for that specific brand, which the message they want to communicate.
Okay.
So, we are having very specific set of data segments where we are having the user profiles into our data sets. We are collaborating with companies providing such data sets and making sure that the right user is not just gonna be available at the same point of time when you are showing the ad.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make sure that the user profile that you are feeding into the system and the technology which comes into the backend is like making sure it targets the right user all the time. Okay. Whenever he is online, he sees the relevant message from your brand so that he's aware, okay, he's a potential target of your product.
Okay. And you also mentioned that the mobile phone is now becoming my primary device for entertainment, information, shopping, etc. How are advertisers? We spoke about the consumer. I'm asking from an advertiser perspective. How are advertisers adapting to these different formats?
So, I mean, in all the developing world at this point of time, including Southeast Asia, India, North Africa, we have been seeing this trend, like end user is coming mobile first. The way they are getting connected to the internet for the first time is via mobile. Previously, it was more of, like they used to connect via desktop to the internet and then they were able to browse content via browsers. But now end user is directly connected thanks to the cheap data plans out there, thanks to the cheaper devices being available in the market. So the mobile phone itself is becoming the primary mode of communication. It's becoming the primary mode of search. It's becoming the primary source of information.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point of time, it is very, very important for the brands to make sure that a part of their budgets is going to be spent digitally. When we are asking about digitally, previously brands were spending on out of home, they were spending on TV, but right now it's not just enough to be on TVs and out of home, because almost an average user is spending almost 6 hours per day. So this is where the majority of the eyeballs are, So 6 hours per day is like almost like if in case they are available there and your brand is not present there, then you're missing the eyeballs or the visibility of the end user from your targeting efforts. So yeah, and on top of that, what we have seen is like this trend is increasing year on year. And post COVID, we have seen, brands who were not actually looking forward to come online and spend digitally, they have accelerated their efforts. Mm-hmm. If in case they were already spending digitally, they have increased their digital spends, and the market marketing spends towards digital side of things, especially related to mobile phones. And tier 2 and tier 3 cities are mostly connected via mobile phones. So that is where, we see a major trend shifting.
Very interesting. So, you also just mentioned that a lot of companies are now going to start keeping money for social media. Uh, my question to you is, how is social media changing advertising?
So, social media is just a part of the whole picture at this point of time. So what is happening, there are apps like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, which was recently banned in the Indian market, but of course it is present in other geographies already. So such social video apps are already there in the market, where the end user is spending a lot of time, because most of the young millennials, most of the uh, people from age group of 15 to almost 40, they are using social media as their primary source of information, as their primary source of communication, as their primary source of news, So what is happening over a period of time, we are seeing this trend increasing. The number of hours spent is increasing. The user base for these social media apps is increasing. And as a result, it is very much important for brands to be having a presence across these platforms. So for example, previously brands were only spending via Facebook and Google, but now they're spending via TikTok or platforms like TikTok. For example, they are spending via ShareChat, Moj, Josh, Takatak. These are the platforms which are already coming into the market and gaining a very significant user presence out there.
Okay. And the advertising managers in all these companies, or the media buyers in all these companies, are probably now have to trying to decide which of these social media platforms to spend money on.
Yeah. So, initially people were just spending on Facebook and Google, which were like primary modes of primary channels to spend traffic. So still, they are the major source of marketing. They're having the major share of market when it comes to spending from ad buyers. But let's say for every dollar spent, almost 70 cents is going to Facebook and Google combined. But there's still like the remaining pie, which is still having a good relevant eyeballs or good relevant users where you can target the correct user. So at this point of time, of course, Facebook and Google should always be in your priority list when you're looking forward to spend across social media and social platforms, because that is where they have a huge chunk of data where they can target the right audience on the right time across all the apps, all the platforms that they're using. Secondly, they are also digitally there are a lot of technology stacks. For example, ShareChat is having their own technology stack. TikTok is having their own technology stack. So these are the platforms where, like when it comes to social video, you will be able to get your message really right to the very niche audience out there. So I would suggest for them.
Very interesting. And Global Media is a new age advertising company. And yet there are these old traditional big agencies all over the world. How are the big agencies adapting to new technology?
So when it comes to the big agencies, at this point of time, of course, previously what it used to be the case, the big agencies would simply get the budgets from the brands, and they will decide which part of the budget would be spent on out of home, which part of the budget would be spent on TV, which part of the spend should be going to digital advertising. But now from day one, they are quite aware that in order to spread the message of the brand or the app in the right direction, you have to go digital, you have to go on mobile phones, you have to target the right users on social media, on news apps, or across premium apps out there. So that is point number one. Point number two, they are also going towards the retargeting model, because having the app is not enough. You have to make sure you are retargeting the user again and again, so that you are not out of his mind ever. So this is also the new approach that they are taking. Third, which is more important, is to make sure that they are also using other platforms, for example, audio platforms like Spotify or Ghana, to go towards podcast, and not just reach them via a banner advertising or a video advertising, but also to reach them via social audio advertising out there. So this is how they are incorporating the budgets and dividing the spends accordingly.
Very interesting. And my next question is that this is the world of the millennials. The millennials are virtually changing the way people are spending their money. What is your opinion on how are millennials changing advertising?
So when it comes to millennials, like we are also seeing, I mean, millennials, they are not simply just creating advertising platforms. They're also creating their own content platforms where the users, they can create their content and upload it. For example, recently we have seen a growth of social video apps like Josh, Takatak, and for example, there's Moj. So the, the the founders who have started these companies, they are very young. They are aware of, in case there is a void in the market and there's not a single app which is dominating this whole social video industry. They are creating their content creation platforms. They are coming up with newer apps for the brands to target the right user. They are providing whole full stack to the brands to make sure they are not just from impression to purchase. Everything has been covered in terms of like the analytical solutions that are being provided to the brands. And the very important thing, they are able to not just drive it via apps, because at this point of time we are also seeing their smart TVs into the picture. A lot of content is being consumed via smart TVs. This is where we see a lot of OTT platforms which are having a very good market share. They're also basically helping the advertisers spend across these OTT platforms.
Interesting. So, Bhavish, I'm now going to move to the next segment of our conversation, which is some questions for you personally. For someone who's building so many brands through your platform, what are some of the core values you believe in?
So, in terms of the core values that we believe in, it's like professionally, it has been very important for me to make sure that we are always able to deliver regarding the expectations of the advertisers. And at the end of the day, it's all about happy clients and happy partners. So this is the core that we have been always working on since the inception of Global Media, and it will always remain this way. Because we are in a very competitive space at this point of time, which is changing every quarter. There are new players entering the market, there are new apps entering the market, there are new brands opening up the budgets on digital side, there are new publishers coming up in the market. So it's always gonna be like an ever-changing atmosphere. But we are the firm believer that if in case you are innovative enough, you are leading the team in the right direction, then you would be able to have happy clients and happy partners out there.
Terrific. And for someone who started a young company a few years ago, from where you stand today, what does success mean to you?
So, I mean, success cannot be just classified into the professional or the business success out there. So, at the end of the day, as I said, you have to make sure that you're improving every day. Your team is personally happy with the way you are leading the company and in the direction in which you're leading the company. At the same point of time, your holistic growth is also very important, that you are keeping yourself motivated, your team motivated. At this point of time, it is very important your team is healthy, you are healthy because of the certain COVID scenario in the market. So we have to make sure that we are including ourselves and keeping the team motivated in all these aspects of life rather than just the targets of the company.
Very interesting. And my follow-up question to you would be that who or what inspires you?
So, I mean, when it comes to who inspires me, I would definitely say I'm a very big fan of Elon Musk. So, because, of course, he has taken some bold steps. He had been very outspoken out there. But I think he's one of the pioneers when it comes to forming companies like SpaceX, Tesla, because it's not just like the business acumen that comes into picture, but you have to be visionary in order to think into that direction and take bold steps, even if in case initially you were not having a very good investment backing. You took all the money from your own pockets and took it to the extent that you can still go bankrupt. Still, he took those decisions which are changing the world right now. So, yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I've got time for two more questions for you.
Sure.
My next question for you is on failure. I've often said that in India, parents don't teach children it's okay to fail. They're always told, come first, go to the head of the line, etc.
Correct.
Yet we make mistakes. So my question to you, Bhavesh, is what have been some of your learnings from some of your mistakes?
So, I mean, when it comes to mistakes, I would first try to figure it out. What are the mistakes that I have done, during my professional journey? So the mistakes that I would have done is like not getting the right people. Because initially it happens, like you're a new company, you try to save a lot of cost. But it is very important that while you're saving cost, you get the right people on board. Sometimes the right talent and quality talent is expensive. But if in case you are not basically having the right talent in the team, then maybe you will have the motivation for yourself, but maybe the team doesn't go along with you in that direction. And the second biggest failure that I have seen or was close to be seen was during the initial lockdown phase in India, when we have seen, like there was lockdown maybe from March till end of June, July, where the whole industry was basically collapsing like a domino effect. We saw, like when it comes to business, it's always important to have a very healthy cash flow. The payments were stuck, not just for us, for the whole ecosystem altogether. But there we decided, like we have to make sure that we support our employees, we support our vendors, we do the payments on time, because the whole economy is gonna be dependent how the small partners and the companies they behave. So patience was very important at that point of time. At the same point of time, it was very important to believe positively that things will go right eventually.
Very interesting. And Bhavesh, my last question to you, and this is for the thousands of people who will listen to our conversation.
Sure.
You are a young startup entrepreneur yourself.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to a young entrepreneur who's starting off on their journey?
So when it comes to entrepreneurship, like we have seen, like people or young individuals, they always try to wait for the right time. They always try to think, okay, once my salary is reaching this level, then I'll quit my job, I'll start something of my own. Once my master's is done, I'll quit my education, I'll start something else. Once my PhD is done, I'll quit it. So the one important thing I want to tell them is like, there will never be a perfect time to start something. So you have always to believe in yourself that whatever idea or whatever concept that you have to start from somewhere, and you have to improvise based on the challenges that you face day over day. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about the idea or the concept, it's also about the execution, it's also about the right team. At the same point of time, you have to be very open when it comes to risk taking. Don't be afraid of failures, because failures will happen, and this is where you learn. If in case the failures are not happening, maybe you're not innovating enough.
Very interesting. Bhavesh, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for this absolutely incredible knowledge you have shared with me on, digital marketing, digital advertising, and I wish you lots of success.
So thank you for inviting me on this interview, and it has been a pleasure to speak to you as well. And I wish all our viewers, as well as to you personally, to stay healthy, take care of family, and just go forward to whatever you want to start. So yeah.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.